promised by the emancipation. See? They never put any actual laws on the books that made shit right with our people. Never. Still to this day. Remember, Martin Luther King says, I feel as though I integrated my people into a burning house. This shit is already fucked up. Martin Luther King said that. And why did he say that? When he signed the Civil Rights Bill of 1964. Because he figured out they fucking duped me. There was a Civil Rights Bill of 1868, 3 years after slavery, that promised the same shit that they never honored. 100 years later, never honored. After the 60s, what happened? Niggas are still protesting. Because they never honored anything. We still asking to be treated civil when I thought we were all equal. Let's pay attention here. Years after the Bureau's passing, that shit only lasted for 5 years. And they gave all the funding to the poor whites. Closed that shit up and left the welfare system for the niggas. When this whole shit was an inception of welfare. But they really said farewell, niggas. Alright, they gave the whites welfare and told the niggas farewell. You're on your own, nigga. But even when we were on our own and built hundreds of towns like Black Wall Street, these poor whites burnt them shits to the ground. But that's not an act of terrorism. Right, but they can tell you who's a terrorist. When we want to promote so-called unity amongst our people, they call us black nationalists, black terrorism groups. Remember the FBI came out with that shit a few years ago? That's what they fear. They fear us unifying against oppression. And they keep us all distracted, and they give us a few tokens, couple dollars, and niggas keep thinking we made progress. Okay. Ask Oprah if she made progress. She worth billions, right? She went to that store in Europe and they closed the door. They said, bitch, we think you shoplifting. Right. Yeah, okay. She got her nigga wake up call real quick. Years after the Bureau's passing, one Georgia freed woman succinctly described what she and probably most freed people had expected, at least from the agency, to get things going smooth after the war. That was no easy task. Given the circumstances in Georgia, state commanders of the Freedmen's Bureau supervised anywhere from a handful of men to over 200 officers. So they had about 200 officers in this Freedmen's Bureau. Field agents, clerks, medical personnel, and special agents with all very limited resources, who on a daily basis dealt with potentially combustible problems concerning labor, education, relief, politics, and civil rights. Still to this day, our people find ourselves dealing with the same issues. Wonder why. Their authorities spread over 132 counties and almost 59,000 square miles of diverse topography in the largest state east of the Mississippi. Their agency's jurisdiction included isolated cotton plantations, where freed people had belatedly learned of emancipation. See? That's that Juneteenth niggas was celebrating. They still was out here getting that slave bag and never told these niggas, oh man, they issued a proclamation. Because that proclamation ain't mean shit. See what's going on? It was all cap. They never mentioned you by name. Interesting. The agency's jurisdiction included isolated cotton plantations where freed people had belatedly learned of emancipation, as well as the riverside rice plantations and coastal barrier islands of an exclusive black reservation, where ex-slaves had established independent communities months before Appomattox. See, we started to do for ourselves, and they couldn't have that because they want you to be a worker class for them generationally. They don't never want that to change. When they was getting that free money, oh man, we ain't got to do shit and we could pledge someone else's labor. Oh yeah, that's capitalism at its finest. And that's still taking place till this day. By the time the Georgia's Bureau demise in 1870, their agency had become the personification of the North's level of commitment to Reconstruction for over 545,000 black Georgians and for almost 639,000 whites. See what's going on? Wait a minute, I thought these white niggas was rich and they had all this money. So the Freedmen's Bureau, this first system of welfare, helped more whites than did so-called blacks. So the land that was supposed to be allocated to our people, the 40 acres and a mule, went to these poor fucking whites. indentured servants that are hiding their fucking history. Because many of the so-called white population in this country today, they don't know their family history past the 1800s. Shit, during the Civil War. Because many of them reinvented themselves. Big fucking cap. I'll read that part again. By the time of the Georgia's Bureau demise in 1870, their agency had become the personification of the North's level of commitment to Reconstruction for over 445,000 black Georgians, and for almost 600